Welcome to another vlog, and my name is Dan Bragg for those of you that don't already know. And in today's video I'm going to talk to you about how I sent out over $75,000 in proposals, and I've only sent 5 proposals total. And in our group I had quite a bit of interest to learn how I did that. And again, this is not something that I think is the best level that I can send proposals at. I believe we can do one proposal at 75,000 rather than 5. And so to speak, this is just my beginning of my growth, and I want to share with you what I've done and how I got to this point. So in today's video, what I want to cover is a couple important things that I go by every single day. And the first one we're going to cover is mindset, how you need to think, how you need to establish yourself as a business, and how you present yourself to the client. You need to listen more, talk less. So in meetings and so on, we're going to cover that in detail. We're going to figure out how to set the tone of the meeting, how to set up the tone of who you are and how you're the specialist. We're going to talk about the proper proposal, how you need to have the proposal ready for the client. And then be on time, of course, for whatever you do with this client. And then how to close the deal at the end after everything you've done, after the presentations and so on. This is a quick screenshot just for the skeptics out there. This is from February. In our Facebook group, I did mention about how in February I've sent out 75,000 in proposals. This is just a few of the deposits I've already got, and some of them still either I'm meeting them soon, either it's in a talks or they're reviewing it with their partner, and things are looking pretty good. Now I'm not expecting to close all 75,000, not all 5 proposals, but one is already closed, as you can see. Some of those, the first 2 payments, the 542.5, that was just for recurring payments. The other 2 are for deposits and the milestone. So this is just one client in this specific example, but I'm assuming in the next couple days here, next week coming up on Monday, I believe that the next one will go through, and then following that, potentially the next one. So the mindset, how did I go? Like literally about 2 months ago, maybe about 3 months ago, I've literally changed the way I approach meetings and the way I approach clients in general. And the one thing that kind of like, when you have that light bulb moment is when I figured, hey, I need to believe that what I'm offering and the value that I'm attaching to it makes sense. The number that I come up with is the number that I am worth. And if I don't believe it, and if I don't see the value in it, then how will the client see it? And that's when I started to switch the thinking of whatever I'm doing for them is because they need me. I don't need them. I'm not desperate to get them. They need to get my business. Is the reason they're calling me. If they're calling to get quotes, if they're calling to get the business going, whatever the case is, they're looking for something from me, and it's up to me to provide them that value. Now, you need to keep in mind that you're helping their business. You're not just doing another project. And when you understand that, when you switch that mindset that you're just trying to get another paycheck or trying to get another client, a lot of us are hunting for clients, right? Make sure that you want to help that business. And when you truly start wanting to help that business, all of a sudden, clients start rolling in because it's just a dominoes effect. You help one, they give you a referral, and so on, and it keeps growing from there. Listen more, talk less. We've heard this before, but this is I've listened to some podcasts. One of my big influencers that I watch a lot is Chris Do, and one of the things that he mentioned is how you need to listen and ask more questions. And I listened to another podcast that talked about how therapists work. When you go to a therapist, you're not actually you're just sitting there and they're telling you what to do and how to treat yourself. They're asking you questions. And when they ask you questions, they're pretty much guiding your vision, guiding your thoughts to come up to the answer yourself. And if they can do that for you, that means that you've justified in your own head what was the problem, what is the solution, and now you see a clear path to take that action. So in this case, we're going to do the exact same thing with our clients. They need a website, they need the graphic design done, whatever that they need from us, we're going to ask them a bunch of questions so they can come up to the sell themselves. Now, that leads me to the third point here, let them sell themselves. So instead of trying to sell why you're so good, why your service is the best, and so on, try to make them almost feel like you don't want to take the business. Make them feel like you're playing hard to get, because most people want what they can have. And if they're shopping around and you're the only one out of the 5 people they call that's being a little bit like, hey, I can do this for you, but why is it that you need this? Like, why should we work with you if you're calling around? If you start acting like that, all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, like I'm curious to learn more. Like this guy seems like he's in a different level here. I want to find out more about this person. So now they're more listening to you whenever you speak. So whatever you say next to them is all about value now, right? Now, by asking questions, you show them that you truly want to help their business. You're not just giving them advice and you're just like telling them what to do. You're actually trying to help them. And when they actually feel that, that's when your business will grow. So set the tone. Don't beat around the bush. What do I mean by that? If they ask you, hey, I'm looking for a website, how much does it cost? Don't just like, explain about your services and explain about your process. And I was guilty of that too. I used to do that because I thought like, hey, I need to understand them better and so on. And before I give them the number, and I want to make sure they're comfortable and they see all this value before I tell them how much it is, because I'm scared to lose them. Then I learned, you know what? Rather than me spending 10, 20 minutes on the phone just to get to the final number where they can't afford it and they hang up, I might as well just get it done at the beginning, where I do find out a little bit about them. Because when they say, well, I need a website, I do need to know what kind of website you need before I can quote you. But what is the main things that they're looking for? And then when they do come to the point of, okay, well, how much, based on what we've talked about, how much is it going to cost, then right away you say, normally our rate starts at this, but depending on the features and functionality, it could go up too. And before we proceed, I want to make sure, is this comfortable for you before we write a proposal and do the meetings? If they say yes, now at least you know that the client has the type of money, they understand the investment that's required and potentially even more, and now you are actually going into a proposal, right? So now you've skipped all the, oh, I can't afford this, oh, this is too much, and all the wasting time and proposals writing, because they already told you they're comfortable with it. So there's not going to be a huge surprise when you send them a proposal for roughly the same amount. Now, there is a lot of sales techniques, a lot of methods as to how to anchor their thoughts. You say a big number first, and then you tell them the lower number next, so they're geared towards bigger numbers and so on. This is more advanced techniques and more like in meetings. I like to do this more in person. But on the phone, when they call you and ask you how much it costs, with the bare minimum information that you have, like if you only know a few points of what they need, then tell them, based on this conversation, it's going to be X. Are you comfortable before we proceed? Now, let's say you got to the point that you know how much, like expectations, you know the budget, you know the timelines, you've asked all your questions, maybe even you had a meeting and so on. Now it comes to the point that you're doing a proposal. Now, this is your chance to show why you are the best at this business, why you're the best at getting their project, and why you're fitting best the requirements. So I made a little breakdown for you here as to the proposals that I send, and this is how, like roughly the same idea of structure that I send out, and I find this converting really well. The way that I like to do this is I start with a personal letter from me. So I tell them why I'm excited about this project, what are the things that we're really excited about this project specifically, and I like to make really personal touches to it, because if I tell the client, hey, I'm super interested in this project, this is something that like they'll enhance our portfolio. If when they hear that kind of stuff, they're like, wow, like not only do they want to make a good website, they want to put it on their portfolio and make it the best piece they have. That's a great thing to hear, right? If you're getting a service, you want to know that the person wants to do the best service so that their portfolio is better, right? So now the next part is I like this to break down the project. Now I make it so thorough and I break it down into so many different points so they can see how much work needs to be done. If they see that there's a whole list of things that need to be done, they understand it's going to cost money. Now, your experience, of course, you have to include what you've been up to, how long you've been doing it, the staff you have, and so on. The more you include in there, the better, because you're showing transparency. The next thing I really like to do is make sure there's a strategy and process. This is my chance to explain about how we do things, how we work, the process that we take from beginning to end, so that it answers any questions potentially that can come up from the next phone call. And if I can answer a lot of their questions just from this proposal, let alone I'm saving everyone time, I'm also showing them that I'm prepared and I've done this before many times, so I don't need to be taught or educated by them what the project requires. Next thing is a huge timeline and cost. Now, assuming you've discussed on the phone rough timelines that they need, you will obviously outline the timelines here, and then following that you have the cost breakdown. Now, what I like to do in the proposal area is that you break down the costs roughly based on the project breakdown, and then you put your number down. Normally, if you actually look at a few videos back, you want to make sure that whatever number you put down, if you're still starting out or growing, double that number and not 10%, because normally you are by far undervaluing your services. The one little touch that I'll add to the cost is that I don't always, when I put the number at the end, like the total, grand total, I don't put the tax on it because that's the proposal. In the final agreement, in the contract, that's where I add all the taxes and all the extra stuff as far as fees and whatnot. There's no fees, but taxes in Canada, Vancouver, they are here. I don't know what goes in Europe or in the United States as far as taxes goes, but in Canada it's 5%, so we have to add that in. Next steps. So what does the client need to do next? They receive the proposal, they love everything, they see that you can do it, they see the cost, they can do it. What do they need to do next? Tell them. If they need to contact you, if they need to call references, you're going to have it right there and then for them so they don't have to call you and ask those questions. And now the last thing, the reason I made it bold, because it's super, super important. I can't stress this enough. Case studies. If you want to make sure your client is impressed from your proposal, if you want to show them true value, well, show them what you've done before, but in a case study way. Show them that you've put an effort, you've improved the business before, hopefully in a similar field that you're about to take this project. And then if they can see that you've done this before, you've helped another business in a similar industry, then why would they not want to work with you, right? Now, a bonus is if you add an FAQ page that answers basic questions. For example, why do you use WordPress? Or who is going to host the site? Questions like that, right? So answer those in the FAQs so that they don't have to call and ask those questions. Save time. And plus, once you write it one time, this proposal can be tweaked up for every other client over and over, but majority, 80% of the proposal will be already written for you. And last one is, last couple slides say, be on time. So if you've said that you're gonna send the proposal, let's say on Monday in the morning, make sure you send it on Monday morning, not at noon, not in the afternoon, Monday morning. Set a reminder to follow up with them 2 days after if you don't hear back. So if you send the proposal on Monday, Tuesday comes by, Wednesday comes by, and they're just not answering you, then you want to follow up, right? Because you've prepared the proposal, you had those meeting conversations. Now all you gotta do is simply send them, hey, just wanted to follow up. Have you received my proposal? That's I usually call first, because on the phone, if they answer the phone, I want to make sure, hey, did you receive the proposal? I want to make sure if you had any questions, and from there I can gauge how they're feeling, what are they thinking. If they don't answer the phone, I'll leave a voicemail and I'll follow up with an email. Just wanted to follow up, making sure you received the proposal and if you had any questions. If they don't answer you for that as well, then you want to do what I like is the closing loop email. Now, I'll try to include a link below, but it's a very simple email, pretty much saying that, hey, I haven't heard from you, so I assume you've moved on, and I hope all the best, but let me know if there's anything in the future that you need. So pretty much you're telling them, hey, I assume you moved on, not a problem at all, see you later, but I didn't hear from you, which up to you not telling me, that's fine, best of luck. And it's crazy how many replies I got from that email alone, because once I've sent that email, they almost feel guilty and they have to reply. So I've actually had just recently actually a person not answering a call, not answering text, not answering email, and then once I sent that closing the loop email, he right away messaged me, can you show me some examples of work you've done? So for whatever reason, he didn't go thoroughly through the proposal, although all the examples are there, but here you go, at least I got a response from him. He's probably busy with other stuff. He doesn't really care. It's his back burner to do this website or whatnot. So I sent him the link right away, no problem. And I'm going to follow up with him again. Okay, and the last part is close the deal. So there's 3 different clients that you're going to run into, or 3 different leads. There's the serious one that will call and email you because they need it. They're ready to start. They don't want to waste any more time. They want to start and get going. You'll also have the 50-50 lead that is not sure what they want, They're kind of on the fence to start, and they'll make you chase them essentially. You'll call them, you email them, and most likely they will either go for it, maybe they won't, you don't even know. And then they have the bad client, the bad lead, they will just not answer you, they'll just disappear, no matter how great the first initial conversations were, no matter how much they told you they can afford everything, they just decided that it wasn't a good fit. For whatever reason, they decide to ignore you and be an unprofessional that doesn't reply. So in this case, you want to focus on the first two more so on the first one, of course. Don't chase if they're not interested, because remember, they need you more than you need them. And if you have that mindset that you are there to help them, then they'll come back. There's many different metaphors we can use here. One of them is the dating world, right? In this case, I'm a guy, so if I like a girl and I keep messaging and keep calling and she's just not replying, I'm gonna look desperate. I'm gonna look like I'm chasing way too hard, and most likely it's gonna turn them off. It's really similar in the business industry, especially a client relationship like this. So, guys, this is a video that you guys wanted me to post. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped you. I do want to hear about your results if you have used this method that I've just laid out here. If you did like this video, like the video, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.